Patchwork Podcast.
February 5th. Today is National Fart Day, according to the radio. But I don't know if they really know who they're talking to, because where I'm at, every day's National Fart Day. It just sort of follows me around. That smells good. Okay, I am not going to smoke this comic book. But I am going to smell it. You don't always have to consume something. Like, even coffee really would be just amazing, you know, sometimes to just smell it. You don't even have to run hot water through it. Like, is that actually traumatic for the coffee to have boiling water splashed onto it? Like, maybe it's like a lobster. It's like, don't do this to me. This is mean, you know? But really, I just care about the smell right now. Like, this comic book really smells good. I have a collection of old Star Wars comics, pretty small collection. There's five of them total. One of them's not really that old, so it doesn't really count. But I mean, it's cool too. It's called Splinter of the Mind's Eye. I'm sure it's great. But really, the one I care about the most. This is from 1979. Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to go smoking that comic book. It's kind of funny though when I was thinking about that. Like, why would I think of that? Well, because I was thinking about how, I'm smelling this comic book, but I just, even though I was only thinking about it, I kind of stumbled over my words and I accidentally said, I really like smoking this comic book right now, but I'm like, what? I'm not smoking it, I'm just smelling it. But then that reminded me actually of this is a crazy story. I'm not saying it's a good story. It's just something that happened. Once upon a time, when being stupid kids, me and my buddy tried smoking a newspaper. We didn't smoke the whole thing. You know, it only took us a second to realize how gross that was. But that's one of those early smoking experiences. But way before that, like way back in kindergarten, so that other newspaper smoking story was probably maybe more like 10 or 11 years old or something. But back in kindergarten, there was these big kids from grade 1, I think, or grade 2, that were out in the back, but in our backyard, like on the other side of the fence from the other street. They were like, "Hey, come here." And I'm like, "What?" And I could tell they were kind of up to no good. But I went over there, peer pressure. Who knows what's going to happen? But they're like, "You should smoke the cigarette." And I tried it, but I actually blew into the cigarette because I didn't really know how to do it. But it was still totally disgusting and made me cough a lot. Yeah. So I'm glad I never became like a smoker, actually. I'm not saying I've never smoked cigarettes, but just never as a habit. More like as a special occasion sort of thing. If you're trying to get super drunk, then smoking some cigarettes can really help. I don't drink anymore. I quit in 2011. Don't smoke comic books. By the way, this really amazing Star Wars comic that I found, it's the best out of these bunch because it's the oldest, 1979. Star Wars in big yellow letters, 40 cents, November 29th, 02817. Marvel Comics Group, Dark Encounter. Darth Vader is having a fight with some cybernetic looking dude with a pink outfit and gold boots. He's got fire shooting out of his robot arm. And Darth Vader is, he's doing his laser sword stuff. And looks like somebody's getting pushed into the lava. They're on a pier. And yeah, it's, the upper logo in the left corner has a picture of Luke Skywalker in his Tatooine outfit. Desert dweller type of thing. You know, classic. They call it A New Hope these days, but, you know, in the old days, for real, it was just called Star Wars. 1977 Star Wars movie only happened once in history. Once. The first two movies, actually, are the most legit. It's just like, I don't want to say it was all downhill from there, because that's really negative. Well, it's too late, I just said it. I'm going to erase that part. Okay, anyway, but this one's from 1979. When things were still fresh, the second movie was not even out yet. Empire Strikes Back, which, as everyone knows, is actually the best Star Wars movie, are tied in first place with the first one.
I just realized Legato is anagram for gelato.
I just figured something out on one of my old classical songs. Like, they were all figured out a really long time ago. Like, I started writing them in high school, which was in the previous millennium. And the first one that I wrote took 6 years to write, and it's about 1 minute and 45 seconds long, I guess, depending on how fast I play it. But it was composed one note at a time. Every note had to be imagined in my mind before I committed it, and then found it on the guitar before it got committed to paper. That's an unusual way to write a song, one note at a time. Usually people do patterns and repeat them and stuff. But that song was called Wandering. But this other one that I was playing today, it's called Medieval Serenade. Well, I played it way different than before. But no, the part I wanted to talk about was I just added a new chord, changed one chord. This is like 30 or 40 years after the fact of writing it, changing one chord, because it always bothered me. This chord was like this. There's like a few notes. There's like 3 notes and then a chord like this. But it's missing a C sharp note, which sounds like it should be there because of stuff that was earlier in the song. So today I just changed that chord a little bit. Instead of going like this on the last chord, I do it like this now. Like this. Problem solved. That was bugging me that one chord was bugging me for like 40 years, and I just figured it out. Now, why did it take me so long to fix that? I'm not sure. Stubbornness or something. It's 2026. February 3rd. By the way, February 2026, this month right now, it's what they call a perfect month, because the way it looks on the calendar, there's 2 ways to have your calendar, basically, 2 major ways, which is Sunday on the left, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Monday on the left, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you go by the Sunday first calendar, right now is, you look at it, February, it's a perfect rectangle.
So the first day of the month was on the upper corner of the rectangle, Sunday, February 1st.
And the last day of the month is on the bottom right corner of the rectangle.
And this doesn't work on leap year, but anyway, it's just like this year, and there's a weird pattern like every 11 years or every 6 years. So right now it's a perfect month.
At least we got that in our corner.
Note to self, good enough to be shared. Do not use a drum as a table. They get insulted when you do that. I see that I have a hand drum over there, not being used as a table. I almost wanted to put my coffee on it, but no, don't do that. And then right beside it, right beside the djembe, I see a doumbek with a bunch of papers put on it. Nope, got to take that off of there. And then play the drum. Show a bit of respect and enjoy it.
Here's a fun quote from John von Neumann. Computers are like humans. They do everything except think.
I think I just discovered there seems to be a repeating pattern in the digital roots of the powers of 2. And right now it's January, Wednesday before the 17th, 2026.
Yep, it's true. I wrote a Python program for it and everything. Turns out it was old news, of course. I mean, like, I'm just a little guy. I don't expect to discover anything new in mathematics, but it was new for me. I just thought of it when I was walking to the grocery store that day. 2 to the power of increasing exponents gives 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, etc., doubling each time. Digital roots of those numbers gives 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. It climbs up and then it falls back down. Over and 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 over. There's no number 3 in there. There is no number 6 in there. There is no number 9 in there. The lack of those numbers seems to make it dovetail as an interesting opposite to the solfeggio frequencies, which I talk about in probably chapter 4 or 5 in my book. The solfeggio frequencies, the digital roots of those frequencies are all they're all 3, 6, and 9. And this is the opposite. Kind of like n over 7. 1 over 7 is 0.142857, repeater. 2 over 7 is 0.285714, repeater, etc. And all of the different options like 3 over 7, 4 over 7, 5 over 7, 6 over 7. There's no 3, 6s, or 9s in any of that. Very interesting, those numbers, 3, 6, 9. If you plot those on a circular graph, you get a triangle. Perfect equilateral triangle. Very interesting. Nikola Tesla probably would have something to say about all this stuff. I think there's a famous quote about how 3, 6, and 9 are like the key to the universe or something like that. Here's a weird thought. As I was having a shower just now, the water droplets were hitting me in the back, and as they're hitting me, there was like an echo. There was like an echo inside of my lungs or my chest cavity that I've never noticed before. I could totally feel the hollowness echoing from the water droplets hitting me. I've never noticed that before. Like, is my body changing? Am I hollow now and I didn't used to be? Or did I just become aware of that all of a sudden? Kind of weird.
Maybe I'm turning into one of those chocolate Easter bunnies. The hollow ones, not the solid ones. I like the hollow ones better anyway, the way they just kind of collapse when you bite into them, when you chomp their ears off and their butts.
Maybe I've started mutating from watching that movie The Substance too many times. Like, I don't even need to use the substance. You just watch the movie and you start mutating. Pretty soon my belly button will become a vending machine for fried chicken. That was another musical nugget. A musical nugget.
Sometimes, when you watch the stars in the sky, you can start to see shapes in them. The other day, a group of stars looked like a horse being chased by another group of stars that was in the shape of a lobster, which then morphed into a scorpion. Some groups of stars look like perfect geometric forms, spinning disco pyramids. Somebody must be using a quantum geometry set to accomplish sculpted choreography of constellations. Maybe that's how crop circles are made, and cornstarch monsters. Maybe there's a spaceship up there hiding behind the stars. Sometimes when I stir cream into my glass of coffee, I can see the stars in the sky swirling as I'm stirring.
Some car designs are more conducive to the Hot Wheels treatment than others, for reasons such as limitations on painting detail. For example, this BMW that I saw in the grocery store today in the Hot Wheels section, It didn't really look great because the grill should have been painted silver or chrome, and same with the headlights. Other than that, it was good. But this other car really caught my eye in comparison. And it's a really cool looking car. And the actual car looks just as good as the painted rendition. So I had to buy it. Pretty modest investment. What, like Hot Wheels cars, like $150 or something. Still in this day and age, kind of incredible. $2 maybe. Can't buy anything for $2 anymore. But this one is a Gordon Murray Automotive T50S. And I never heard of that. But apparently, Gordon Murray is a legendary car designer who helped design he did design the McLaren F1 and a bunch of other stuff. So now I'm learning stuff about that. But this car really is awesome too. It's very fast looking. You know, I'm pretty well convinced. I've always thought that beautiful cars, quite often, they seem like a tribute to beautiful women. You know, especially the really nice curvy ones like Corvettes. And this Gordon Murray T33, it's dreamy. It looks like a cloud. It looks like a drop of mercury formed into a cloud, singing sweet songs from the netherworld. Case in point, the Pagani Zonda C12. Horatio Pagani explicitly stated his design vision was to feature a sinuous outline designed as a tribute to women. Sinuous? Wow, that is explicit. He designed the wheel arches to suggest a woman's bosom and the rear bonnet to represent hips, aiming to balance a curvaceous female shape with the aggression of a fighter jet. That's from 2005, but going even further back to the 60s, the Coke bottle styling was innovated by Raymond Loewy, who designed the 1961 Studebaker Avanti, characterized by narrowing around the middle, meant to mimic an hourglass shape, which later heavily influenced the curvaceous Chevrolet Corvette C3. C3 refers to Generation 3, my favorite generation of Corvettes from the mid-60s to the early 80s. That's the 1960s and 80s, not the 2000 or any other century or millennium. I did not mean to presume century or millennium. So the internet is not really giving me like the list of really beautiful curvy cars that I think it should. Okay, I talk too slow, so I'm going to speed up the audio on my voice because it's getting on my nerves trying to edit this stuff. So I'm going to go into my Forza Motorsport 6 game, which has tons of cars in it. And you can load up a car and look at it from every angle in the video game and take pictures of it and get your jollies that way, if that's your thing. So I'm going to go load that up and come back with a list of all the most beautiful cars. When eternity later. Well, I went through my Forza Motorsport 7 and my Forza Horizon 4 or whatever it is. Oh, well, I looked at all my car collection and, you know, here's some cars that are awesome. You can look them up and see what they look like if you don't already know. So I'm going to go in chronological order, I guess. These are not necessarily like the most beautiful ones. Some of them are like, you know, what does that mean anyway?
What does it mean anyway? Well, that's a good question, actually, because I just remembered one of my favorite ideas that I might as well tell you right now, since it came up. When people say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I think what they're usually trying to say, like a different way to say it, to paraphrase, what they're saying is, it's a matter of opinion. It's a matter of opinion. But I have a different interpretation, which I like better. Here it is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That means if you see something and you think it's beautiful, or if you perceive something, it doesn't have to be with your eyes. It could be music. Could be a thought pattern. Could be anything. Could be an idea. If you think it's beautiful, that's because you have a beautiful mind. The beauty that you see or that you perceive was already in you. And if you didn't have that beauty in your mind, you would not have been able to recognize it out there in the universe. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm not sure if that's what people usually think when they hear that phrase, but I decided that's the true meaning, and this seemed like the best opportunity, just like a good opportunity right now to share that idea. I've thought about it many times. I hope you like it.
Doesn't matter. Here goes. 1933 Ford Coupe. Guess what that's all about? Why would I mention that one? Because ZZ Top Eliminator, that's why. 1940 Ford Deluxe Coupe, or Coupe, however you say that. That's also known as a Willys, I'm pretty sure. And I actually made a plastic model of one of those with like a nice metallic emerald green color. 1948 Ferrari 166 Barchetta. Famously sung about in one of my favorite Rush songs, Red Barchetta. And Barchetta means little boat. And if you drove one, you could be a little man in the canoe. I wonder if they come in pink. 1953 Corvette. That was the year of the first Corvette. And I really think they're great. I like pretty much, like generations 1, 2, and 3 of Corvettes. So generation 1 started in 1953. But, so I do really like them. But I just got to say that it looks like a bar of soap. Okay. So a bar of soap. Remember the Thrills gum? They still make it. It tastes like soap. In fact, they brag about it.
It also tastes like rose water.
You could have a 1953 Corvette and make it the color of Thrills gum, which is like a dusty rose color. And maybe get a Thrills license plate and see if anybody understands this joke that only I understand, but now you understand it too. How are you going to get that out of your brain? 1953 Maserati Pininfarina. I'm pretty sure Pininfarina is the name of a designer. That's a really cool looking car. And like a lot of cars, the headlights and the grille make a face. Okay, so that one really has a cool looking cartoon face. And I know the Cars movies, right? Pixar, I guess, or Disney, whatever it is. They put the eyes in the windshield. But when I make my movie, which is going to be called...
A few moments later...
Ghost of the Junkyard King. I already wrote a screenplay for it. I'm going to use all my old cars that I had, that I still have from when I was a kid. And they're going to be the characters. They're going to be talking and everything. But the eyes, I was thinking of putting googly eyes on the headlights of the cars. Not sure yet. 1954 Mercedes 300 SL. They have such boring names, some of them.
Just like classical music. Menuet BWV ANH 114. Give me a break.
But that's a really nice looking car. It has, it's so elegant. It's like it looks like bubbles or something. Kind of like a ladybug, sort of, but not really. There's a different one I'm going to mention that looks like a ladybug. Well, I'll mention it now. It's a 1957 Porsche 356A Speedster. It looks exactly like a ladybug. But the Mercedes 300 SL, I painted mine in metallic mint green, which I think looks really amazing on that car. 1958 Aston Martin DBR1. See, some of these cars, now we're getting into some really curvy, feminine-looking cars. Famous as the victor of the 1959 24 Hours of Le Mans. Le Mans. I just watched that movie Le Mans again yesterday. It's so good. Filmmaking was different back then. There wasn't all this egomania and trying to make things interesting by all this unnecessary intensity. There was humbleness, calm before the storm, and then ferocity, great contrast, slow timing mixed with fast timing. There's a spot in that movie where the cars go all the way around their first lap, which takes a few minutes, and there's no talking, and it's just beautiful camera work of watching these cars go around the track. And I mean, if you're not into that kind of thing, you're going to think it's friggin' boring, but I love it. So, 1961 Jaguar E-Type. I have a yellow one of those in Corgi format from when I was a kid. I still have it. Enzo Ferrari saw that car, Jaguar E-Type, 1961, at a car show. And he said it was the most beautiful car. Supposedly, he said it was the most beautiful car he's ever seen. The only thing wrong with it is that it should have a Ferrari logo on it. So legend goes. Okay, the next two cars I'm going to mention are tied in first place for my favorite, most beautiful cars of all time. And they are the 1966 to 67 Ferrari 330 P3 or P4. They look identical. Okay, like you have to look at it to know what I mean. Okay, because it's awesome.
Super sexy. I bet you would agree, even if you don't care about this kind of thing.
And the 1968 Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Yeah, maybe I should look up how to say that. I'm sorry for slaughtering the language. It's too late now. I'm probably not going to fix it. Let me just look that up. Stradale. So that car again is the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Okay. So yeah, wow. That one's also very curvy and very tough looking. It's got big hips.
Childbearing hips, like ox.
And it's unique. It looks, it has like an aircraft or maybe spaceship kind of look to the way the windows are. More like an airplane.
It's like a cross between an airplane and a belly dancer.
So those are my two favorites, the Stradale and the P4. And impossible to mention the Ferrari P3 4 without also mentioning the 1966 Ford GT40. Also one of my favorites. It's just a lot more masculine looking, but it's pretty freaking awesome. And of course, it's the subject of reality and a movie, Ferrari versus Ford, or Ford versus Ferrari. It's a freaking awesome movie. Yeah, that's when Ford actually beat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966. I guess. Now we're coming to another one of my favorites, probably second place after those other two.
Yes, I know it's immature to have a list of favorites, but here we are.
Is the Corvettes. Corvette, the third generation from 1968 to 1982. Okay, they're very curvy and they look like a shark too. In fact, before 1968, like 3 years prior, I think really is the beginning of that shape, because there's a Corvette called the Mako Shark, and it very specifically was made to look like a shark. And the even the colors look like a shark. Okay, and on the side of the Corvette, some kind of air vents on the side of it totally look like the gills of a shark. Okay. So, and I think there was also a manta ray in 1969 Corvette. So they all basically look the same-ish. But gradually they got kind of bigger and tougher looking while still maintaining their feminine curves. Kind of like a weightlifter chick, I guess. Then what? What else? Oh, I guess kind of before that, I was going to go chronological, but so 1906 to 1971, there was the Lamborghini Miura, which a lot of people say it's the most beautiful car ever created. It's kind of maybe tied in second place with the Corvette for being my favorite. Why rate things as a favorite? It's so immature. Like, well, I don't care. Something to do. It's fun to compartmentalize things, even though it's kind of meaningless. You know, what else am I going to do? It's my day off. We got band practice in a little while. I'm gonna practice again. I had a good morning of practicing. Oh yeah, so the Lamborghini Miura has eyelashes. So it's very pretty. Okay, it literally has eyelashes on the car. It's adorable. But I was talking about the Corvette looking like a shark, right? And I was thinking about that and remembering that once upon a time I did a piece of music called Sugar Shark. And that was in about 1996, I guess. And I painted. I was just getting fresh into getting back into painting after I was in art class in high school, and it got really just too much toxic freaking behavior, and I just didn't want to be there. Just I don't know, bullies kind of ruin everything, but at the time, so I kind of gave up on art class back then. But then a few years later, in around 1996, because of this book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, I got back into painting, watercolors, gouache, that kind of thing. Got right into it. And as part of this album that I made called Sugar Shark, which is just two words that go together, I'm easily entertained, okay, by things like alliteration and a simple rhyme. What's wrong with the two-word little combination? What more do you need? So Sugar Shark. So I made a painting of a shark jumping out of the water. Well, like a giant shark jumping out of the water. Is it a giant shark? Yeah, I think it is. It's pretty huge. Jumping out of the water to eat a spoonful of sugar that is being held there. So it was kind of dumb, but it's fun. So that's the album cover for Sugar Shark. And since I'm talking about it so much, I might as well play you that song. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to play it for you right now. But first, also on my list of interesting, beautiful cars, there's so many favorites. I'm not even getting into the 70s, but that's a little different now. They be getting into looking like rocket ships and stuff more. Although some of the old ones did too. But yeah, I only went as far as this next one I want to mention is a 1973 Porsche 911. All 911s kind of look the same, but the earlier ones looked classy but understated and elegant, and then in the 60s, but then in the 70s they started to look tougher and more like race car, and I like those ones the best. And then after that they started to get super streamlined more, and I kind of I think 1973 is about a sweet spot for me, and 911s. And one thing I always thought about 911s, I actually have a green one in corgi format, and especially because it's green, but it looks like a frog. So all 911s look like a frog to me because of the shape of the front end. Looks like frog lips where the bumper is. It looks like frog lips, really wide mouth. And the eyes kind of sticking out. They kind of stick out like a frog. So yeah, I think 911s look like a frog, which is awesome, of course. Oh, somebody should make a car that modeled after a giraffe. It's probably already been done. So yeah, here's my song Sugar Shark from the CD of the same name from a long time ago. 1996.
Subdivisions was on the radio by Rush. And so then I'm like, okay, I need to find some rock music with synthesizers in it. Nothing else will do. Okay, so I ended up listening to Saga, and I was previously only familiar with 3 of their songs, like The Flyer and On the Loose, mostly, and another one, Wind 'Em Up. So I listened to the entirety of 2 albums, and I found definitely my favorite track by Saga it's a brand new favorite of mine. It's called The Sound of Strangers.
1983 was a good year for music.
And the keyboard is so amazing at the intro, and the song just stays amazing for the whole song. There's guitar and keyboard things that are just, it's kind of weird to say it, but just better than most things in the world. That's how freaking good it was. So yeah, it's really beautiful track and just so well balanced and exciting. It's got energy on different levels. You know, got a bit of fire energy, some red chakra energy, some mental energy, the precision of like ninjas and kung fu robots, and yeah, it's a good track. It's called The Sound of Strangers, and you can just turn it up loud. I'm going to listen to it again. I've listened to it 4 times today. It's my day off. I was just playing one of my classical guitar pieces, very Rubato, Rubato, and it's a lot nicer that way. And I also just noticed that Rubato is almost an anagram for burrito. So yeah, Rubato, burrito, Legato, Gelato. What else is there? What else am I going to find?
Okay, this is bizarre. I just found this photograph of Kirsten Dunst, and she looks really amazing in this dress. It's all sparkly and flowy and almost feathery looking, but she's wearing running shoes underneath. Like, I'm the least fashionable person in existence, but even I find it weird that she's wearing running shoes under such an elegant dress. It's very strange. Maybe it's a statement, irony, anti-dogmatic, smashing the status quo, something like that.
Or Vulcan in the streets, Romulan in the sheets. Or like with a mullet, they say the mullet means business in the front, party in the back. Something like that. Now the internet's giving me more synonyms or idioms. Synonym idioms, that sounds delicious. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Or quiet ones are the worst. Or all fur coat and no knickers. While usually meaning someone who puts on a fancy show but has no substance. Oh, I don't like that. No. But it's sometimes twisted to mean someone who looks very formal but acts very differently in private. Well, I thought all fur coat and no knickers, that sounds like a streaker to me. Welcome to the human race. These are the things we come up with.
Or maybe it's just an oversight.
I guess we'll never know.
There's no way a photographer would let that slide. Then again, you know, like, takeout coffee mugs end up in Game of Thrones. So I guess anything's possible.
Shazam or SoundHound, whatever, music recognition technology is definitely very high up on the list for me in terms of my favorite technologies and how they've made life better. Song recognition technology. You know, wherever I am, if I hear a song, oh, what's that? It could be a song that I already am familiar with and I just don't know what band it is or whatever. But especially something I've never heard before. I'm like, wow, what's this? I like this. So it can be extremely informative when I find myself accidentally Shazamming the same song many times throughout a period of a year or so. That's when I know, obviously, I must like that song. So that's a sign to check out more of their tunes. Or in case of today, the only two Shazams that I did, they were both Taylor Swift. And I'm not really familiar with Taylor Swift. But 2 songs in one day caught my attention in terms of being like, yeah, I want to listen to that again. A song called Opalite and The Fate of Ophelia. I think that's right. Yeah, so maybe I'm about to become a Swiftie.
Okay, well, it's been 12 days, and I can definitely confirm that actually I've been listening to the new Taylor Swift album many, many times. It just keeps on sounding better and better every time I listen to it. And now that I like her voice, I'm starting to think she's good looking too. Isn't that funny? Human nature. I don't know how it works. Approaching end of podcast episode in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Beep.